Oh, you're already rolling?
Oh.
Okay, sometimes we do that.
Cut out all those bad jokes.
Yeah, sneaky.
Swear words.
Welcome.
No, I'm just kidding. No, we don't do swear words. Okay. Wing It Podcast, goosedigital.com. Who do we have?
I'm Brett Boadway, the Chief Operating Officer at the IBAO.
And Norah Black, Director of Marketing and Communications at the IBAO.
I'm Chris O'Neill, VP Business Development at Goose Digital.
All right, Michael Turksani. Thank you, ladies, for coming
Thanks for
today.
having us.
Well coordinated. For those that are on the YouTube, you can see the well coordination.
This is our brand standard at the IBAO.
Yeah.
Black lace shirts.
Yeah, awesome. We have the Black Edition a magazine on our
team
boardroom table too.
Teamwork.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on today. We've got a exciting podcast for our. This is like, I know I use this joke sometimes, but people are getting annoyed. We've got like 100,000 views.
Perfect.
So this is this is gonna really bump the brand up.
Right.
And I know recruitment's a big topic, so all of our millennials that are listening are really this is gonna go a long way for them. But so thanks for coming. Why don't we talk a little bit about the 100th, because that's a big deal right now.
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
That's Nora's baby, so
Yeah?
take it.
Okay, go.
Well, we're turning 100 this year.
That's IBAO.
Yes,
Not you guys.
IBAO. It's our 100th year. It's kind of a big deal.
Wow. 100 years.
It doesn't happen every day. So we're spending the year to celebrate. It's like one giant birthday party all year long, sort of culminating at convention in the fall. And it's a couple things. It's, looking backwards, 100 years, all the people involved, all the things, we've accomplished. Really that celebration. And then it's looking ahead, right? We have the next 100 years. How are we evolving? What's it going to look like? And how can we sort of support our brokers? So
Excellent. Well, it's just 100 years. It's like, how many industries have been around for 100 years,
Well, how many, have you guys done a little how many 100-year-old businesses there are in Canada? Have you guys?
Well, we know how many brokerages are over 100.
Okay.
So we'll be celebrating them over the course of the year.
And,
Is that a secret? Is that number a secret? The number that have...
It's not a secret, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
It's a secret. Still a secret
Secret,
then.
yeah.
we actually have 6 IBAO member brokerages also turning 100 this year. So
Wow.
we're celebrating them as well.
Yeah.
So they were there right from the beginning. Those
from the
brokerages that
beginning.
were right from the beginning, they've been members for 100 years at IBAO.
Some of them, yes. Some of them are just turning 100 as a business.
Okay, gotcha.
And then some of them have been with us for all 100 years, which
Wow.
is fantastic.
The IBAO has a lot to be proud of, I guess the broker channel and the IBAO in general. So the IBAO, we've done well to retain the brokers, the critical mass, to be our members. So we haven't fragmented, which is something to be proud of. That's pretty common in large bodies of industry and people these days, that they start to
Break
fragment
up a bit.
and, yeah, but the brokers have really stayed together. And then from a broker perspective, relative to other countries and other provinces, the broker channel in Ontario is relatively very strong. So I like to think it's because they have strong association and a strong network, but I think that the brokers are a very strong distribution channel in Ontario, and still have a lot of consumers choosing that path. So
Awesome.
good on them for being so strong at our 100-year mark.
So I know with the new president, Joseph, is in now, and you had an article published. Do you guys want to talk a bit about the 20 to 2022 plan that you have, or kind of that new strategic plan that you've announced?
Sure. So every 3 years, we reset our strategic direction. It's based on survey results that we collect from our members, saying, what do you need from your association? We got very positive survey results in the fourth quarter of 2019. And so here we are, first quarter of 2020, embarking on a new 3-year plan. So I would say that sort of the main priorities that we're working on are consumer awareness of the broker value proposition. So letting consumers better understand what a broker is and how they compare it to the other channels that they have. Technology continues to be a focus. Education continues to be a focus. Government advocacy continues to be a focus. But then some of the new ones that are interesting are recruitment to the channel. And that really plays off of the consumer awareness. So what is a broker and why do you want to work for them? And
really recruitment.
Recruitment is a big one.
Is a new. It's kind of a new one for us. You know, we were hearing anecdotally for the last sort of year or two, just how challenging it is for our members to attract talent, and that's for a number of reasons. But when we issued this survey, it was just sort of that was really
clear.
A top
really
one. And
clear.
you said maybe some benchmark data too. There's some other
benchmarking. That's right.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about it? I mean, that's really exciting. I mean, I think the 3-year plan and some of we're going to get into some of these items and talk about them.
Yeah.
We know that recruiting too it's not just the insurance industry that's having challenges recruiting.
Yeah.
That is like across the board
for sure
in terms of getting the attention of and making the industry attractive to the next generation.
Right.
That's not unique to insurance.
Right. So where I think that the association can come in to help with that is that we can help change the story of what it's like to work at a brokerage. And you can get up in front of audiences that are potential candidates to maybe leaning towards becoming an insurance broker or looking to make a career switch. So we can help with that component of kind of more broad stroked going out there and saying, here's what it's like to be an insurance broker. Here's sort of what the average day in the life looks like. Here are the advantages of being an insurance broker, giving back to your community, flexible work schedules, compensation packages, that kind of stuff. So you can kind of change the story and then help that insurance broker when they're looking to hire, find somebody, and then they can talk about their brokerage versus going all the way back to the beginning as what is an insurance broker.
Sure. Well, we had an opportunity to work together. Norah got us in on an award last year. Did you want to talk briefly about that, and we'll switch into the topics?
Yeah, absolutely. So Goose Digital came on as a sponsor of our Brokerage of the Year. I believe that was our 10 brokers and up last year. For the first time, we sort of divided that category because we wanted to really drive participation, and I think and that worked. So you sponsored that award, which is amazing, and you donated a digital roadmap, which is something I think everyone could benefit from. Just kind of a check-in on where you're at as a business, and from a marketing perspective and sales and strategy and growth, how you can sort of evolve. So we were really thankful for that, and I hear that that's already kind of happened, and you're working together. And
yeah, it went really well, and we were pleased to be involved, and I think it ties in. Thanks for that back overview there, because I think maybe Chris, I'll turn it over to you to briefly mention some of the themes, but a lot of times the roadmap process is just about laying out all these priorities, to your point on the business side, and recruitment's definitely one that we've seen. I mean, Chris, why don't you talk a little bit about like the big things that you're seeing when you're meeting with these brokers?
So yeah, I think it's probably pretty consistent, the kinds of things that Brett and the team have heard from the brokers that we're hearing too. Things around technology, things around communication, things around recruitment, and the digital roadmap is a form of engagement where we take a look at the business, like just stepping back from that day to day, looking at where it is that the broker is looking to grow, and how it is that they anticipate the market sort of evolving. We work with them to make sure that the strategy that they're putting in and the tactics that follow those strategies are going to be effective. And so, really, the proposition of the broker pretty well established after 100+ years of sort of establishing themselves as value to the end customer. There's so many different areas. Now we're seeing a lot of cross-sell opportunities out there where brokers are taking on new products and going into their existing, customer base and using, tools to accelerate and to automate those tasks that in the past have always been very manual, but being able to sort of take advantage of that. So those growth expectations underpinned by the technology allows for that growth to take place. So whether something like in the recruitment, area, which again, across all industries is really, sort of seeing it, having that technology layer, I think, translating into the day in the life, I think that this upcoming generation is looking for that sort of layer of sophistication on the technology side to be like, that's attractive.
They feel good. Yeah,
I feel that's
So
attractive.
what do you guys see as like the main kind of drivers of attracting talent? Like, I know I love the awareness and sort of like because you said before the podcast, like, the association can only go so far. They can you can only take it so far, and
Right.
then the members have to kind of pick up the torch and actually run
Well,
it.
doing
Yeah.
the work with the colleges that you're doing now,
Right.
and getting right in there and sort of at that sort of phase, that early
Yeah.
phase of like, what am I going to do with my life, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
The key point in sort of like our job when we go into the college is to we play a role as a myth buster. So what I hear over and over again at the college student level is, I don't want to work on straight commission, or I don't feel comfortable cold calling people. Well, that is not what a broker does. And in fact, on the compensation side, very few of our members are straight commission-based brokers. There is a salary component for a lot of them. Not all of them, and you have to kind of balance that opinion. But that's where we come in and we can say, there's so much more to being an insurance broker than just sales. It's really about community engagement and working with your clients on through all of their entire life cycle, or and also we also really emphasize the role of an entrepreneur as a broker. So that's appealing to some students. It's not appealing to others, but for a lot of them, if you dream of ownership, or if you dream of having some sort of creative output side of your brokerage, whether to develop a book or develop a program on the commercial line side, align it with a personal passion. I mean, the opportunity to do that is in the broker channel if you're looking to get into the insurance industry, and it's not available in any of the other options. So
Right.
I really reframe it as all it under the umbrella of retelling the story of what it is to be an insurance broker, and kind of getting away from some of the common misconceptions.
Yeah, and I think it's also about broadening that, right? So it's about joining the broker channel to become a broker, but then, people don't understand all of the other jobs and opportunities within a brokerage, right? Whether it is marketing or HR or technology or
Claims.
right?
Yeah.
So just sort of broadening that and telling that story as well.
So maybe, Norah, you can chip in on a few, what, like, maybe your perception or how you guys think of, like, how a broker can sort of best position themselves to be attractive. We were talking earlier about you guys do all this work, and then maybe there's a job posting, and then you, as an individual, go and look at that prospective company. And so what are some things that you think of that maybe should be at least a thought? I know we do it as part of the roadmap, but maybe if you're not doing a roadmap, you're just thinking about these things. What are some things that are low-hanging fruit items that a brokerage can do to make themselves more attractive?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just about positioning yourselves as a modern workplace, right? So low-hanging fruit, what do you look like, right? Everyone's going to Google you, someone who's contemplating working for you. What does your website look like? Does it look like it was refreshed in the last year or two? Is it from 20 years ago? What are the kinds of things that you're sharing on that website? Are you talking about your staff and your people? Is there a hint of culture there? What's your brand personality? What are you all about? And that extends beyond your website to all of your social media. Not that everyone has to be on every platform. That's certainly not what I'm saying. But, as a brokerage, Google yourself, what comes up, and would you want to work there? And then I think it goes into, workplace hours and
Flexibility.
and back to culture, really, like that people want to be part of an engaging and fun team. So what are you doing at your brokerage to sort of help drive those kinds of things?
Yeah. Great. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of really great places to work out there. A lot of great brokerages out there that are maybe kind of like, as we see this a lot across the insurance industry and other industries, where, man, you guys have like really a great story, and we just need to sort of like take the next step to put it out there so that people can see what, you know, the odd staff party, or they can see kind of these quirky things that you guys do. And you really don't have to change anything in your overall kind of way of doing things other than to sort of put it out there.
And I think people look at it as this big project, you know, and it is, but there's so many little things you can do that just all add up, right? So just get out there and start sharing that story kind of bit by bit, and eventually you're going to have, you know, this incredible thing. So
Brett, when you look at recruitment, is it mainly kind of that new broker, that young broker kind of coming in and working through the organization, or is it also recruiting like more senior folks in the businesses?
Well, I would say right now IBAO's tactics are focusing on contemporary talent, younger talent.
Okay.
When you look at the demographics of the broker channel, over 60% of all licensed brokers in Ontario are over 50 years old. So that's a very large percentage, heavily weighted to the soon-to-be retiring phase. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you do need to have people of a younger age kind of coming up in behind to learn that body of knowledge. And insurance has a long learning cycle.
Or unlearn it.
Or unlearn it. Specifically, like I think specifically on the commercial line side, everything's customized. You really got to know your business and you got to know your clients. So, there is an age component to our tactics, which is why we're focusing on using digital strategies to tell the story and going into the colleges and trying to that's our focus. But I mean, hopefully a byproduct is somebody else is seeing these posts and they say, you know what, that would be a really cool career change.
Well, I think of like some of our broker clients now that are, you know, they seem to be able to recruit a marketing person that didn't come from the industry, or an ops person that didn't come from. So I think maybe it's just kind of you get that added benefit once you start doing it, that you know, there might be opportunities to obviously promote from within, but then there might be opportunities where you say, you know, we're kind of ready to bring somebody from the outside to deal with that. Well, okay, well that's I mean, I think what we've seen on our side is more digital marketing for recruitment. So what does that mean? It's, I mean, obviously the website refresh and those types of things, but actual campaigns that they're running to target and kind of warm up audiences on LinkedIn and on Facebook to sort of, it's not necessarily a job posting, but it's like, it's designed to sort of say, hey, we're in your area. This is a geography that is really important for us to sort of recruit to. So it's geo-fenced. It's got, you know, a lot of that kind of geo-targeting going on. And we're specifically looking for people in this age range that have these types of experiences, maybe in customer service or, you know, other industries, that we want to show them that you should apply here. You should come check us out. Mm-hmm. In fact, we were at one, we can't name who it is on here, but they're a very high growth, very successful broker here in Ontario that is almost shifting a lot of their lead gen budget away from traditional kind of lead generation to the recruitment lead generation. So it's a huge trend. That's and great. I think it's something that is going to continue to grow. What are we at, Cam? 20 minutes. We're doing pretty good.
It's flying
we try to get to like an hour 30. That's kind of our, you know, once we get there and we're so hot we can't even move. Let's talk about so I think that's been really good. You guys want to talk about some of those other priorities? I know there was tech was a piece, and benchmark. Those were the two other ones I had on my note. Do you want to touch on those briefly?
Well, I think maybe the two I'd like to mention
or something
in
else
terms of our focus.
Yep.
So one is the benchmarking and one is our education, and it really all integrates with recruitment.
Okay.
So on the benchmarking piece, kind of the goal of IBAO is to become a repository of industry benchmarks, broker benchmarks in particular. So compensation structures is a good one. So, you know, brokers are saying, I'm having a hard time hiring talent. Well, is where you fall relative to how other brokers are compensating their employees. Maybe that could be a factor.
Right.
So because that common body of knowledge doesn't exist anywhere within the broker channel, I think that IBAO is best positioned to kind of collect that and be able to provide those
And
statistics
how's the
to brokers.
feedback been from
Well, we
brokers?
haven't
Oh,
really started.
Okay.
So right now we're in the process of
But people are
vendor
pumped.
selection. People are pumped.
Yeah,
and-
people are pumped about it?
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they want it. And it's not just compensation structures. It's financial targets. It's sales cycle times. It's retention rates.
And
Yeah.
various. That's really cool.
Yeah. So if you were able to say, okay, I'm a broker in Ottawa and I'm this size, what is a broker in London of a similar size doing? And maybe brokers can then be a little bit more make business decisions that can improve their business. So that benchmarking piece does have an integrated component to recruitment.
Okay.
And then on the education side as well, it's really like getting this licensing education process way better. So, we do very well on the licensing side currently, but we could be better. We could offer more online opportunities to get licensed. Then there's this whole gap between getting a license, but then actually being a up-to-speed broker on your first day at work. So when you go get your Rebo license, you're not learning about how to pull a quote from CompuQuote, or that's not what it's called anymore, or like how to pull an Auto Plus report. Like you don't know any of these practical skills, so we're building this component to kind of fill that gap before their first day at work. So they get their license, then they learn these practical skills, then they show up at the broker's office way more trained than they were prior to just having a license. So these are all focuses of ours, and it's really just tied back to how do we make life easier for the broker and how do we get the brokers to thrive and grow even more.
And then on the marketing side, definitely recruitment has been a focus. We're going to be sort of pivoting away from that back into consumer awareness, that sort of general consumer awareness. People still don't know what a broker is. They still don't understand why they should be using one. It's something that we sort of started a few years ago with some success. Part of the member survey was, we need to do more of that. Brokerages need help sort of selling themselves in that space. So that'll be another main focus of the strategic plan. So we've got some things planned for this year. We've got a couple campaigns. I think it's about sort of standing out online. I think it's about being funny. I think it's about maybe repositioning the channel in ways that are unexpected, just trying to make a little splash out there, and then really educating consumers. So it's that like edutainment that we're trying to achieve. Yeah.
Well, I think what's happened too in terms of the way that the industry has changed, like we're talking about training people so they're ready to go on day one. Like I think if you looked at things 30 or 20 years ago, it would be like the things that brought someone up to speed were like the same for probably 15 years. Like how you get somebody on the phone, like ready to talk to people. It basically didn't change. Well, now it's changing like every year, every 2 years, the tools that are available, the conversations that are being had are much different now because there's the marketplace is changing so rapidly. So it's like being able to sort of get these new recruits on the phone effective and helping the customer it's a moving target. It's a much different situation than it was
and I think
years ago.
If you're because I think, it's like we talked about earlier, it's not necessarily a problem that's unique to insurance, but I mean, insurance is definitely, we're very involved in that industry, but in other industries, you're seeing similar situations where aging, you're bringing in that younger generation. And, the last thing people want to feel is like they're not prepared to be able to do their job, right? They've got their license, but the practical side of being able to handle like, well, how am I going to deal with that situation? And like to your point on consumer education, like why have a broker? And then you have that call with the broker and you get that person on the phone that's sort of been at the job for 6 or 7 or 8 months, and that call doesn't go very well, or that experience isn't what we all hoped it would be. So yeah, it's a big challenge, to really have an individual that feels like they can be effective and they're confident and they can handle kind of things that are thrown at them. We know that some of our clients or people that we've talked to have developed their own education programs internally, and that's and they should, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely kind of sympathize with someone that's bringing the younger broker in and trying to get them up and running.
But the IBAO has a series of educational programs that are available to their members.
That's right.
So
Yes.
on the marketing side, Norah, when you were mentioning the consumer marketing, is that targeted at a certain type of consumer, or like is it can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we've definitely been trying to hit millennials. I think, brokerages have always thrived on their sort of current book of business. A lot of the time that is sort of an older demographic, and a lot of those books are shifting, right? Millennials are, the biggest age group, biggest demographic. So I think you need to pick a focus. That's our focus. And I think there's a ton of opportunity there, right? Like, millennials just don't know, like, nobody really knows about insurance unless you've got a vested interest or a family business or what have you. It's something that is not necessarily top of mind unless something bad happens, and then it's really top of mind. So I see that as the biggest opportunity, and we're just going to kind of grow from there. So sort of that millennial, obviously all across Ontario. We have brokerages all across Ontario. And yeah, just really trying to it's really back to the basics. Like, what is a broker? Like, we're still at that level.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do.
Now, is there research that you guys are doing, or have you heard of, where you're looking at like a millennial or that target age kind of demographic that you're referring to, their kind of spend tolerances? Like, I think over the last four years, a lot of the focus until recently with the hard market has really been on driving digital, quote and bind online, and as a result, like, we've all heard the horror stories of not very good business that's come through that because they're all focused on the cheapest, policy and all this kind of stuff. But then you see kind of the opposite. Like, you go outside of insurance and you see, well, I mean, we've got people in our office that are doing skip the dishes every single day or Uber Eats every single day. Like, they seem to be okay with spending money on things that make sense to them and that are high quality to them. So are you considering any research that suggests, like, this age group's not necessarily bargain hunting? Are you thinking about doing any research around that, or have you experienced anything like that?
Well, I think you're right. It's the insurance is sort of a grudge buy always, and it's hard to sort of reposition it. Specific research, no. I think just anecdotally, sort of, absolutely. And again, it just comes down to that education, right? So people just aren't thinking about insurance. So we need to find a way to tell this story in a little bit more of a compelling reason, whether it is entertainment, whether it's compelling, taking the compelling angle. I mean, bad things really happen, and you need to really be thinking about these things and taking the necessary precautions. And I just think there's just a ton of opportunity.
I saw a funny one, and I it's a little shout out to CAA because we're part of their broker marketing academy. But they did a little skit. I don't know if you guys saw it, where a hockey puck like flies through the window and like smash it. So he brings the father brings his daughter into his living room, I think, and they're like discussing like, oh, I got this new TV, and then like a puck like flies through the window and like smashes the TV and smashes everything. But then it immediately switched to like the claim went well, and oh, there's my TV, it's all good.
Right.
And I thought like that's like a kind of what you're talking about, is like educating on like, okay, what would happen? How does that work? And it's funny, you could watch a 30-second Instagram video and be like, that's really clever.
Yeah, I had also heard this one example kind of along that same vein, where millennials are very okay with buying insurance for their iPhone, but they really are resistant to buying a tenant's insurance policy for their condo that they rent. But really, they're almost the same price.
Right.
So you're saying you value your iPhone than everything you own?
Everything else you own?
So that's where we can come in and talk about making a compelling case for buying a tenant's policy. So,
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's... Cam, do you have a tenant's policy?
All right.
Oh, hey.
There he is, yeah.
Okay.
He's obviously a very smart person.
We're breaking
Smart guy.
through. We're breaking through.
It's already working, guys.
Yeah. I mean, anything else you guys want to bring up? Because I think this was a really great session.
I I'm just going to give a quick plug for our convention. That's
Oh, yeah. Oh,
not
that's
till
right.
October. We're
Yep.
only in February, almost March. But again, 100 years, kind of a big deal. We're looking forward to seeing everyone. It's going to be a huge, huge show.
Now it's called Empowered. Is it or is that
That's
a
a
theme?
theme.
It's a
That's a
theme.
theme.
Okay. Okay. Right. It's
Yeah.
not really called Empowered, but
Yeah, that's sort of our theme for the year, going back to what I said earlier about sort of celebrating 100 years, and we're now in a place where we are empowered. Brokerages are empowered to really do whatever it is that they want to do. And then it's that looking ahead, right? So how can we continue this sort of theme of empowerment? And you'll see that theme throughout convention this year.
And the convention is, where is it this year?
It's in Toronto,
Yeah.
October 21st and 22nd.
And do we know where in Toronto yet?
It's at the Sheridan.
Is it the Sheridan?
Yep.
Again?
Absolutely.
Nice. It's going to be a big one.
And I would like to give a public thank you to Goose Digital for all of the
wow.
support you have given the broker channel and the IBAO over the last couple of years. So it
Yay.
is very appreciated, and you guys are doing great things.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And thanks for having us here today. It's been great.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.